Love that. Okay. What type of weather do you enjoy the most?
Oh, I love this question. So what we're having today is actually my jam.
I love it.
So
I
we're having for the, we're having very stormy times right now in Dallas. Lightning, thunder, lots of rain. And that is when I feel home because, I'm from an island, a tropical island. And then I spent a big bulk of my childhood in Florida. And so the idea of like rain and storms and lightning, like I didn't realize it was imprinted upon me until I lived in California for 3 years and I lived there during a drought. So I saw rain twice while I was there, and it was so depressing. Like the mountains and the sunshine, like and the ocean, it was the most beautiful that I'd ever lived. But I'm like, I can't be in a place where there's no rain though.
Yeah.
So like to me, I love rain more than I love the ocean.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I've never said that before.
Now to switch gears. Are you ready for the big question?
Go.
Tell me about your name.
Ooh. Wow. What a relationship I have with my name that I see this stranger and I immediately am like, I want to talk to you because I have so much to say about my relationship with my name. So I'll say this to start because of course, like the whole podcast is about this. I'm not going to tell you the entire story, but I'll kind of start. I'll tell you when I actually started to have consciousness that my name might be important.
Mm-hmm.
So my name, when I was born in Dominican Republic, and there's things about how my name came about that I didn't find out until later. So, I've had my name my whole life and my whole life been miscalled, misspelled, misrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
People argue with me about how to spell my name, even the fact that the L is capitalized, people argue with me about it, how I say it. People have had not necessarily arguments like, not like that.
Yeah.
But an opinion. And I'm like, how you got an opinion about something that is not up for debate?
We weren't asking. Yeah, this was a statement. So.
I'm telling you what you think my name is. I'm telling you what it is, Yeah. So it's one of those things where in typical words that we use in language, there is this idea that we have to agree about how it's said and what it means and the context in which it's used in. But our names is one of the few words that humans have that we call ourselves that we completely get to decide how it's managed.
Yes.
And so then it becomes a curiosity where, as a researcher, you kind of start to see why certain types of people feel like they have the power to question how I relate to the name that has been given to me.
Yes. Yes.
I
know those people. Yeah.
And so there's just like a curiosity that's developed over the decades of having been with the same name and lived in different parts of different eras, different versions of myself, different even ways that I introduce myself, and seeing how that differs. So what I'll say is that the origin story of my name, my mom, there's no one that's CarolLaine in my name. I'm the only CarolLaine. My mom was watching a soap opera in Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. And there was a woman, I don't even know what color she was, but there was a woman actress and her name was CarolLaine. And she didn't tell me until like 3 years ago that this actress was a writer. And at the time that I found out that she was a writer is when I was recovering my writer identity after 10 years of creative trauma.
Okay.
And so learning that the origin of my name was associated with a writer wasn't just learning about my name, it was healing my creative identity at the same time. And so she saw CarolLaine, she didn't quite like CarolLaine, and so she wanted CarolLaine, but she didn't want the Americanized CarolLaine.
Right.
And so she decided that she was going to do a combination of them. And so legally, when I was born in Dominican Republic, it was Carol, CAROL dash capital LAINE.
Mm-hmm.
CarolLaine Maria Garcia. So in Spanish, the la, it's a la. It's a lane. So CarolLaine. So in the Americas, when I emigrated when I was 5 and I went to kindergarten, it was the first butchering. So I have a picture of my kindergarten graduation with my diploma, and it's spelled CarolLine. And that was the first colonization of my name in the Americas.
And the assumption that you just know it better. I
Right.
think it's wow.
Yeah.
Was this was this like your kindergarten teacher? Or is this like a printed from the school certificate?
This was it was like a regular elementary school. But it was in New York, so presumably because my last name is Garcia, they should have known better because it wasn't like there was no Hispanic kids there. But nevertheless, somehow, even though like all of my stuff says CarolLaine with the LA in it, it got dropped. And I didn't even think that was a big deal until I started to like review my family photos and stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not my name. But already, like literally my first, if you think about it in this way, my first recognition in the United States was with a name that was not mine.
That's some identity back shadow work. Okay. Okay. So do you feel a disassociation? Have you how do you reckon with that identity now? Or even then, because the first time that you've been acknowledged in the US, they haven't acknowledged you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm in a space of reclamation now of my full name. So it's not a thing anymore, but it took me, I mean, I'm 39 and I think that I just felt comfortable saying my name. So for a long time, I would introduce myself as CarolLaine. And I still do default to CarolLaine. For a while, I started going by Caro as a way of teaching myself how to say just the first part of my name with an accent, because I was scared of speaking with a Spanish accent, especially like after the first Trump election. I was just scared of being identified as Hispanic. And so because I have the privilege of being Black passing, you don't even really have to know that I speak Spanish. And a lot of people just assume that Garcia comes from a partner. So So there's not a lot of questioning there of why Garcia is associated with me. Like some people can tell because they have either traveled or had Dominican friends or something, and they can just like literally some people walk up to me and they're like, "You're Dominican," and I'm like, "Whoa." I'm like, "What happened? Plantains around me? Like, how did you know?"
How did you know?
But then there are other people that they look at me and you can see kind of like they kind of cock their head and they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, what do you want to know?
Yeah. What are you asking me?
Yeah. So just ask me the question. Like, let's not do this beating around the bush because I have like 10 different answers. And so I went from CarolLaine to Caro to teach myself how to say my name. And then I realized that the way that my family says my name is CarolLaine. And so then the next step was for me to say my name, CarolLaine. And for a lot of that, I had to practice by traveling to Latin American countries. And that's also when I realized that I wanted to reclaim my entire name, CarolLaine Maria Garcia, because as in Latin Americas, we have the right to our entire names. And so I remember it was a trip to Colombia 4 years ago that every time I was checking into an Airbnb, I had to like give them my whole passport name. And so in the entire time that I was there, it was CarolLaine Maria Garcia, CarolLaine Maria Garcia, CarolLaine Maria Garcia. And so when I came back to the States, I was like, that's my name.
Yeah.
It's CarolLaine Maria Garcia. And I literally came back and changed all of my social medias. So it has been like, it's been a reclamation journey, not even just of the spelling, but the pronunciation of it. And even my right to say it, because often whenever people say my name and they will ask, how do you say it? I don't want to butcher it. And I'll be like, depending on who they are, I'll gauge if they'll be able to say it with an accent or not. A lot of people feel very uncomfortable when they can't say a name with an accent, so they feel like they're failing. And so there's a lot of like psychological management that I have been doing. And so where I'm kind of getting to now is I will say my name the way I say it. You do the best you can, but I'm not going to mispronounce my name to accommodate what you can say, because I do have an accent.
Yeah.
So I'll say CarolLaine. You can say CarolLaine, but it's CarolLaine for me. I'm going to call myself my name.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want to, not whatever you want to, but you don't have
Within the
to,
bounds.
mimic my accent. And what's fascinating is that when I'll be like, I'll go to a yoga studio or something and I'll check in, I'm like, Caroline, and they're like, CarolLaine. And I'm like, Caroline, as I said.
Yeah.
As I said. And they're like, oh, but it's spelled differently. It's spelled like CarolLaine. And so then this is when the asshole in me comes out. I'm like, well, actually, it's CarolLaine. And then I just stare at them. And then the looks that they get when they realize that I can speak Spanish, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoy that because there's like, I didn't realize the privilege of being able to hide my Spanish, but it's kind of like this like mask that I take on and off.
Yeah.
And I can be as Hispanic as I want to. And especially when people don't, because I don't have much of an accent in English and I know how to hide it. So if I want to be completely Americanized and unaccented, I can. And so when I speak Spanish fluently, people are like, how'd you learn to speak Spanish so fluently? And I'm like, well, it is my first language. And then that starts a whole other conversation because they're like, well, you speak English so well. I'm like, I know.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it is like, it has been such a journey, like to understand what happened to my name. And that's why I was so excited when I saw your post, because I'm like, I haven't had a chance to talk about this because no one's asked yet.
Yeah. So tell me, what happened to your name? Is it your identity with it? Or was it like the evolution of you realizing that the first time that your name, or you were acknowledged in the US, your name was misspelled? And then this like cycle of having to not accommodate, but like, what is the word? It's like put up with.
Like tolerate?
Tolerate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tolerate people saying your name without the accent or assuming that your name is something else. Was that the relationship that you had?
I think what started happening is, and I think they started happening when I worked at Deloitte. So when I used to work at IBM. All of my career has been in consulting up until 3 years ago when I left to start my own practice. And when I worked at IBM, I served clients. Our clients were probably, our contracts were probably less than $100,000. So it's very, very small clients, relatively speaking. When I started working at Deloitte, our client projects were multi-million dollars.
Gotcha.
So went to like mom and shop kind of places to like Fortune 500 companies. My largest client was Fortune 1, which is Walmart, or was Walmart. I don't know where they are right now. So I've literally worked in billionaire companies, serving billionaire companies where the most money is made all over the world. I've been in the rooms with leaders who manage capitalism. That is the best way that I can describe it. And I've sat in those spaces as a doctor, typically the most educated, the most brown. And even in spaces where there were Latina women, I'm typically the blackest. Even in spaces where there are women, I'm typically the blackest. And even in spaces where there were Black women, I'm typically the only Hispanic. So always being some kind of other, but always being the most educated. And typically at that time, when I started consulting, I was 26, so younger than everybody else. And I'm 5'10". So walking into a space with stature, with academic stature, and yet being younger than everyone else.
Yeah.
So like a hell of a power differential, whiplash, and me being like, yeah, I got a PhD. But I remember when they would be like, in your experience with clients who have done this kind of thing, like, what would you recommend? And I'm like, this is my first client.
You mean a textbook? Yeah. Like, I
haven't done it yet. So when I went from IBM, it was kind of felt like more of like a normal corporate job where you had I had teammates, I had like the same clients that I talked to. It was very normal. And when I worked at Deloitte, I did functional teams. So I was switching projects and teams like every 3 to 6 months. So it was almost like I worked for Deloitte and Deloitte signed all of my checks, but I was serving different clients. Yeah. And so it was almost like I had 23 different jobs in 5 years.
Whoa.
Because it was a different project, a different client, a different team, a different industry, a different assignment. And I had a different role too. So the equivalent of 23 jobs in 5 years.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm constantly introducing myself.
Yeah.
To not just one person, but dozens of people every few months as a standard way of life. And so that's when I started to become conscious of how people interacted with my name, because in essence, it was like a small scale study of how do people interact with my name in a professional setting when I have a doctorate.
Mm.
And I got to like sample different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different projects, different timelines, like a longitudinal study of how do people across 5 years of time, 23 projects, how do they interact with my name? I wasn't aware of that at the time. This is just, after.
Yeah.
But it created this like space where I was thinking about my name more than I ever had, because I had to keep introducing myself. And then at the same time, I'm like making new friends in Dallas. I'm dating. So I'm also introducing myself personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there was one point where when I was home, like visiting my mom in Jacksonville, where the rest of my family lives, I had a moment, a flash of realizing that I was a different person in Jacksonville than I was in Dallas. And that started the curiosity. And I realized that in Jacksonville, I'm CarolLaine or Caro. And in Dallas, I was Caroline. And those were functioning differently. I didn't even have any Hispanic friends in Dallas. I didn't eat Hispanic foods. I wasn't cooking Dominican anything. People didn't even remember that I was Dominican. I had forgotten Spanish. I didn't speak Spanish. I listened to music, but I was so disconnected from my culture that the original root system of my name and everything, it just seems like it's in the past. I'm Caroline now. I'm Americanized. This is the American dream. I have made it. I have made it so hard in the American dream that my name is now American.
Oh.
And that is that is success, right? But then that's not what it didn't feel like success. It felt like, well, I just erased myself. And that was one of the first times where I realized I am being erased. And that's when like the anger surged, and from the anger then has come 5 years of action.
Explain to me the anger, because I think I know. Before we jump back in, I want to tell you about something I'm building that's really close to my heart. Outside of the podcast, I lead Radar, my organizational consulting practice. One thing I've learned as a researcher is that most workplace problems aren't actually productivity problems. They're people problems hiding inside organizational systems. When communication breaks down, when the team struggles to collaborate, when burnout keeps showing up, or when leaders can't figure out why talented employees are disengaging, the answer usually isn't another policy, and it's definitely not another meeting. It's understanding the people behind the performance. That's what we do at Radar. Through research, leadership development, and facilitated learning experiences, we help organizations uncover the human factors that drive organizational performance. Because when people work better together, everything else gets better too. So if you're an HR leader, an executive, or someone who's responsible for developing people in your organization, I'd love to talk to you. You can learn more at ShanaeChantel.com. Now let's get back into this episode. Explain to me that you've kind of shed a part of yourself. Did you do it knowingly? Is the first question.
When I was reclaiming my name?
No, when you were going through this corporate experience and you realized that you were Caroline here.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? Like, did you know that that's who you were building, or did it just seem like the way to the American dream, the way to the top?
I didn't know that that's what it just happened. It just, one day I just looked up and I was like, oh shit, I don't have any Hispanic friends. I don't say my name the way my family says it. I don't eat any of my foods. I don't dance anymore. It just happened one day. And then when I noticed it, then I started to look back, and then I noticed all the steps that it took to get there. But it was gradual. It was, it was when DEI started to blow up, And I went from, I don't want to just say that I value DEI. I want to embody DEI in my life.
Mhm.
And so what I started to do was I started to audit my life and see the diversity in my friendships and my medical professional usage and the places where I visited. I started to see how diverse, equitable, and inclusive my behaviors were, and realized that I was a white woman living in America. And I was like, oh,
Hold up.
wait a minute.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan. Let's go back. Whoa.
So it was when I started to embody my values that I realized that I was not embodied in my values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What age was this for you?
This was in 2022. So I was 35.
35. Nice cover up with that 4 or 5. Is your name common within your heritage?
No. I actually I went to a retreat in Dominican Republic because I host retreats down there now. And I stay at this place called Dominican Treehouse Village. So it's literally a treehouse. It's like the most perfect thing I've ever found in my life. And the people that work there are Dominican. And I was having a conversation with one of the Dominican women that was working there. And I was like having to get like they have a restaurant at the front of the property that you have to get like a slip for, so you could give them like the thing. And so she was asking me my name and my room number so that give me the ticket. And so I'm spelling my name, and it's always a thing because I also have a hard time saying the letter L. I always think I'm saying O. And so when I spell my name and I'm like CarolLaine, they're like, oh, LO. And I'm like, I don't know I can't pronounce it any more than I am. L.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time saying it. And so it just has led to a lot of like misspellings over the years because I literally can't pronounce that letter clearer than I already do. That's as far as I can go. So anyway, I'm spelling my name to her and she misspells it, even though I'm spelling it to her in Spanish. And I tell her my name is Caroline. And I always tell people, don't write it down. Just let me write it down because you have to spell it. But people want to insist because they want to write things on their own. And I'm spelling it. And then people don't know how to listen when they're spelling. So then she spells it wrong. And she wrote down CarolLaine, which was the name of the woman that my mom named me after. So she writes down CarolLaine and she was like, this is such an American name. And I was like, I had to bite my tongue because I was like, it is an American name, but it's also not my name.
Yeah, it's not. There's a reason for that. Yeah.
It was this really kind of full circle moment where I was given, my mom saw something, she Dominicanized it. She saw CarolLaine, she Dominicanized it into Caroline. But I have an American name. So American people can feel comfortable saying my name. And I often receive compliments. Oh, that's such a beautiful name. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you. I don't very much meet Carolines, period, out in the wild ever.
Okay.
Of my spelling or otherwise, I think I've maybe met 10 Carolines in my life.
Okay. Were they white?
Yes. Yes.
Every one of them.
And then of course, whenever they play the Sweet Caroline song, everyone serenades me, which I kind of love now. But then
you do have a song.
I have multiple songs because there's Sweet Caroline, but then there's also Roses.
Yeah. Yes.
And people used to sing that to me too and call me a bitch in high school. So I have Sweet Caroline and Caroline, you're a bitch. Duality. Literally the duality has been there my entire life.
And they're so far apart. My goodness.
So yeah, it's not a common name. My own family typically misspells my name too. It is a very unique call that my mom gave me. And my middle name, Maria, is my grandmother's middle name, my paternal grandmother. So my father had gang of kids. And I was the last born. And so when I was born, my he was like, I'm gonna name our daughter after my mother, my beloved grandmother. And she's like, why? You have all these other kids that you could name. Why are you trying to name my kid? Like, this is my first daughter. Because she just wanted to name me CarolLaine Garcia.
Oh.
And so,
no middle name.
Huh?
No middle name.
No middle name. She just wanted Caroline. And so my grandmother, her name was Maria del Carmen. And he wanted to name me CarolLaine Maria del Carmen Garcia. And she was like, absolutely not.
Yeah. No.
So they settled on Maria. And so it's been really curious, even the relationship with that part of my name, because my grandmother died 20 years before I was born.
Mm.
So I was named after someone that was clearly such a special person to my father, enough to be named after. He literally had like 19 kids. So like gang.
Oh, gang. Yeah.
To be named as the last one that has that lineage, it's taken me a long time to realize. I now believe that our names are spiritual, spiritual magic that our ancestors give us. And when we know our names and understand what they mean, Caroline means a beautiful, wild woman. And Maria is like a rebellious woman who is adored and untamed.
So beautifully adored wild woman.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes.
Duh.
Y'all picked the right names.
You couldn't have done better, guys, because it's exactly.
No.
Wow. Okay. So one, I meant to ask you before, and I lost the second question. What is your coffee name?
My coffee name?
Yeah.
Oh. So I don't drink coffee. So I was like a little something.
Yeah, your to-go name.
It's only happened a couple of times because I don't drink coffee. But typically they'll write down Caroline like the Americanized way. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes if I don't really want to go through the hassle of spelling my whole name, I'll just go by Caro. Yeah. I'll go by Caro, or I'll spell it myself. But I literally am in a relationship with my name. If I'm not even have to leave my house. I'm talking to you about this, and I'm in my house. Yes. I have a relationship with my name. Mm-hmm. We have been through a lot of things together. Yes. And I think a lot of people don't have any relationship with their names, but I have a very deep and complex relationship with mine. And I'm happy that I have taken the time to understand the arc of it, because I'm very proud of the variations of names that I have. And the last thing that I'll say is that I did this thing regarding related to my name a couple of years ago that I had never done before, that I think that you'll appreciate as you continue your future conversations. So I read this book called, I wonder if I have it, Awaken Your Inner Psychic.
Okay.
And
not psyche, psychic.
Psychic.
Okay.
It called to me at a bookstore. I was sitting down at the bookstore writing, and something told me to look up. And I looked up, and there was this pink book, which is one of my favorite colors. And it had like gold writing on it, which is also one of my favorite colors. And it was just like, come to me. Yeah. And I'm like, this is weird. So I go pick up this book, and it's called Awaken Your Inner Psychic. And I'm like, I think this is the witchiest thing I've done yet, you know? So I'm like, well, shit, fuck it. Like, nobody.
Why not? Yeah.
So I get the book, and I really love it because she basically says her thesis is everyone's born psychic. We just forget. And she defines psychicness around just being like sensitive energetically, like at its simplicity. But she has, so she talks about like the chakra. She talks about numerology. She talks about divination. She talks about a lot of different tools that are very mainstream now, astrology and tarot and all of that. So it's just kind of like, if you want an intro to spirituality practices, this is a great book. Because it has practices and a little bit of the history behind it, but it's not like a deep dive into any one thing. And so she goes into numerology in that, which I didn't really know a lot about before that. And what's cool is there's two different ways of doing numerology as far as what I've learned. But she has a way of doing numerology on your name. And you basically like change your name into numbers.
Yeah.
And then the numbers mean something. And what I learned is, So in every epic of my life, what I did was I did the numerology of the name that I was using. So if I was in an epic of my life where I was going by Caro, I did the numerology of going by Caro Garcia. My American stepfather adopted me when I was in high school. So I was actually Caroline Hall for about 7 years.
Okay.
And when I was Caroline Hall, I did the numerology on that. And then I did Carol Hall. So I like all of the names that I have used because I've been Carol and I've been Caroline.
Yeah.
In different like things. So I did the numerology of that. And when I did the numerology, the energy of what the number said associated with that era matched. So like when I was Carol Hall, for example, it said like, oh, this is an era where, you know, you're focused on your school or you're focused on your studies and you're not really focused on blah, blah, blah. Whatever it was, I don't remember, but it aligned with what I was going through in that era with that name.
Yes.
So I think it's also interesting to look at the nicknames and shortenings and names that we use in its totality. Even adding the word doctor changes the energy of the name.
Yes.
And so I highly recommend that as a practice of like, even I think when I started using Dr. CarolLaine M. Garcia, I typically have PhD at the end too. I think I did the numerology of that as well. Just to be aware of just out of curiosity of the energy of names. So that's also another relationship that I have with my name is through numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I think I know some significance of certain numbers, but I've never done like the mapping of my name. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
because similarly, I was Shay with a Y, I was Shay with an E.
Yeah.
I was Shanae, I was Dr. Shanae, I was Chantel. Like these different parts of my life and like how I identified.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to see.
Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay. I don't know how to segue this. Do you think or do you see your name as creative in a cultural context?
Oh yeah. I like it. It's different. And I also did like when I did the significance of my name, because I can't just like look up Caroline because it's not spelled like that. So I've done a couple of variations. I looked up the name, the significance of the name Carol. I looked at the name, the significance of the name Caroline, spelled the Americanized way. But I also did the significance of the name Aine, Aine, is used in Ireland.
Yeah.
And that has, I can't remember what it is, but whatever I looked up also has like a really special significance of it too. So like I kind of use my name as it's very popular now, like a modular system where I have used different letters of my names, and even like the capitalization of the L is only about 4 years old.
Ooh.
I wanted like, and what it's done psychologically is like it reminds people that there's an L there, and it makes them pause long enough to not say it the way that they think it's said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Lane.
So
the L just kind of stops them, and it's like, Carol, how do you say your name again? Versus when the L was lowercase, people wouldn't.
CarolLaine. Yeah.
So it's just so curious that it's just a letter, right, in a different form. And I didn't like go through and legally change, like legally my name on my government documents, the L is not capitalized.
I see.
But I'm not gonna formally go through the process to do that because it doesn't matter.
Capitalized.
It is a psychological thing.
Yeah.
It need to be, the government don't need to know.
Have people noticed?
People have asked me why I capitalize it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, this is how my name, when I was born, this is how my name was spelled. It just had a dash in it, but the L was capitalized. So I just went back to the old form and took the dash away.
Why did you take the dash away?
I didn't take the dash away. The Americas took the dash away.
Oh.
When I came to the States, the Lane was dropped and I was just Carol, because legally my name wasn't Carol. In the US, they did not put my name together.
They did
CarolLaine Maria Garcia.
First, middle, last.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when I was in grad school and I changed my last name back from my stepfather's last name to my original last name, which is Garcia.
Mhm.
Nobody knew any of this, and people had opinions about it. But this was the first reclamation of name because I was tired of like my Hispanic identity not existing in my name anymore. People
Mhm.
see me like a Black American woman. I became a Black American woman when I was Caroline Hall. It was a really really interesting experience to go from Hispanic to Black back to Hispanic.
Yeah.
Just because of a name.
Yeah.
Same skin color, same hair, just name change. Now I'm a completely different race.
And it goes, you embody the stereotypes that come with that race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just automatically now.
Oh, I just know how to be a Black girl because I've been treated like one, you know? So
Yeah.
not a lot of people can race switch, but I can because it's just the value of being light skinned enough to belong to two cultures, and their Dominican culture and Black culture are similar enough that I can coexist between them, but different enough that they're, you know, obviously their languages are different, but they're similar enough that I can like play in both sides. And so when I wanted to get Garcia back, at the time I was in grad school and we had like access to the legal services. And so I remember it was like $400 to pay for the fee to change your name, which at the time was like an exorbitant amount of money.
Grad school was hard. Yes.
Like truly, I made $1,000 a month. So I'm like, that's half my money, right? So, but I didn't have to pay like legal fees and stuff because of it. So when I started the process to change my last name, I realized that it's the same fee to change your entire name.
Yeah.
And so that's when I actually legally changed my name back from CarolLaine and put them together. But I didn't capitalize it then because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was just Carol and Line got back together. My mom's maiden name, I dropped it. And Maria stayed. And then I went from Hall to Garcia. So it's like I have my name, like, again, going back to the modular aspects of it, I've literally like taken pieces and bits of my name and moved it around.
Yeah.
And it's like such an interesting experience being able to have a name that's long enough that you can cut it apart in different pieces and still be whole.
Do you run into the problem of not having enough space to write your first name?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I think maybe if it's happened maybe once, but not, I mean, that's nothing compared to like all the times I've written my name. So not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you consider, well, wait, so tell me more about the dash. I think we kind of got sidetracked. So why omit the dash when you reclaimed your name as one full name?
I didn't omit the dash. By the time that I went to change my name, the dash had been long abandoned and I didn't know that the dash ever existed.
Okay.
The dash was only on my birth certificate and the only person that knew that was my mom.
Gotcha.
So by the time that written record was being taken in the States, that dash was long gone. Because remember in my kindergarten graduation, they put Caroline the Americanized way. So that dash was not a part of my consciousness until after I changed my name. I didn't know. Yeah. But I don't know that I would have wanted it anyway, because it felt like it literally separated my name. And there's something here as I'm talking to you that I'm realizing that it's almost like my journey of fragmentation, a lot of it was shown in my name. Literally, my name was fragmented in so many different ways. And a lot of my journey of wholeness was associated with my name. And the more that I put my name together, the more I put myself together. And I think that will be like the closing message that I say that about a relationship with your name is that when we talked about earlier, like, does it matter to stop and correct somebody? It does, because the more that you fragment your name, you're literally saying that the sound that I'm being called can be mispronounced, and I'm okay with that. Then you're not calling me. You're calling something else, and I'm forcing myself to answer to a call that is not mine.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I started to take it more seriously, is like, if your name if you get to choose how you're called, then I will correct you and let you know that you don't get to choose how you want to call me just because you have some privilege of language that I can't pronounce it. So we can say Arnold Schwarzenegger, we can say CarolLaine.
Look, this is the whole thing for me, because I feel like because the Western I don't know about the whole world, but I'll say the Western side
Yeah.
has so completely like ignored and discounted Africa and their
Yeah.
different languages and their dialects. And so when they see a shala, whatever, they're like, no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, Oppenheimer, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I think it's like I think it's the erasure
Yeah.
of blackness in Africa
Yeah.
and those dialects, those languages, you not valuing them. And so you now have not exercised that muscle to say these names.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And that's part of colonization, and a lot of
yeah.
my decolonial work didn't arise out of like pure intellectual interest. It was my own journey of decolonizing myself and reclaiming all parts of me that allowed me to realize that I had decolonized and now could actually teach that. And like, this was the name of it. So a lot of my journey was me going through stuff, doing it over and over and over again, and being like, oh, I guess I could teach this. But it wasn't like I don't have a formal education in decolonization. I don't have a formal education in creativity. I'm self-taught. And I
Mhm.
also applied those things to myself very much the same way, where I wasn't formally taught how to excavate values from myself, but I know how to live my values so well that I can teach you how to live your values really well.
Mhm.
That's my work. So it's my own decolonization journey meant that I had to realize that I didn't have to be certified by an institution to be able to embody my teachings. That's why wisdom is one of my core values. I
Yes.
value my wisdom enough to know that I don't need you to value my wisdom to be able to offer it to somebody else. And so it just kind of, for me, my name and my relationship to it and my study to it very much mirrored my own decolonization journey. And to your point, a lot of people in the Americas don't have that sense, because unless you are doing decolonial work, you are not doing decolonial work. You have to do active decolonization work to decolonize. That's the only way you'll actually get through it. It's not something that you can just inherit through osmosis. There is an actual process of deconditioning that has to happen.
Mhm.
And then the most compassionate, I think, aspect of it is once you decolonize, you have to learn how to coexist with people that are not on that journey, that
Mhm.
will not be on that journey, that will
Yes.
don't want that journey.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to coexist with them without judging them, without thinking that you're more than them, because that is also colonization whenever you
Mhm.
see yourself as above somebody else. And so that work is just always ongoing. But my name, I think the reclaiming of a name is the reclaiming of a soul, I think is where that's going to be.
Ooh. So, do you consider having to reintroduce yourself to people who have decided that they know how your name is spelled, or you have to like correct them? Do you consider this as like emotional labor?
To reintroduce myself to people that I have.
Decided that they know better, they know your name better, or they say the wrong name, like to have to constantly be like, actually, it's as
Like,
opposed to Alex or Brittany.
not just a one-time thing, but like an ongoing thing?
Like, multiple people do it to you. It happens to you often. Not the same person doing it all.
Oh, do I see it as labor? I don't necessarily see it as labor. I see it as an opportunity to connect. Because I think when you have like a name that doesn't give a name that is easy to spell and say, people don't stop at it.
Mhm.
And it can, maybe there are other things that they might stop at and ask you about, but um they don't have that opportunity to understand why you have that name. Like if your name is Amanda, people aren't going to be like, oh, that's such a unique name. Why were you named that way? Even if you have like a really cool story for
Yeah,
why you were named Amanda, people aren't typically going to be like, oh, like, tell me more, you know?
yeah.
So it can create this almost like there's this ease for them, but there can be an invisibility around their own awareness of why their name's that way. A lot of people don't know why their name's the way that they are. They don't know
Mhm.
it at all. And I had to, because it was such a conversation. People asked me.
Yeah.
So the curiosity of people drove my own curiosity, which then taught me to be able to then show other people. So I actually appreciate that I have a unique name, because it makes it so that it's already going to be an interesting conversation. We already have a point of connection. If you're curious about my name, then I already know that you're curious about me, and now we're connected. If you see my name and it gives you no pause and there's nothing that's curious about me, then that's probably the last interaction that we'll have. So it's kind of almost a little bit like not a test, but like a flash of like, oh, do we connect there? And if not, then it is what it is.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I so appreciate your time. This has been amazing.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to share that you haven't gotten a chance to say?
I would say that, like, through this conversation with you, I've talked a lot about how I found meaning in my name. And what I would challenge the listeners to do is to take their names that seriously too. The things that I talked about in terms of like the numerology, the understanding like who you were in each era, the understanding how you say your name, like all of these things were taught to me. These were not natural things that I came out the box doing. I had to be showcased and told that it was okay to say my name the way that I wanted to, that it was okay to reclaim my name, that it was okay to even be curious about it. And so I invite the listeners to, wherever you are in your journey, you don't have to be done. You don't even have to like have started, but just know that this is a journey that is possible for you, that you do have the right to be in deep, loving, secure relationship with your name. And that the way that whomever named you, there is purpose in that. And if you can find space to understand that there's a greater design to things, I think that understanding the spiritual meaning of your name can give you a lot of, when we talk about values and guidance, my name guides me because I'm a beautiful, wild, rebellious woman. And whenever I'm in a situation that I forget that is my essence, I remember by saying my name. So I think your name, we talk about a lot about mantras and meditation and positive affirmations. And what if we use our names as mantras?
That's okay, because there's I know that you have to go, but like the things that people speak over you when your name is called.
Yes.
And your name has a meaning. So they're kind of proclaiming that meaning, if you will.
Yeah.
And so if you allow them to call you something differently, they're not proclaiming what you want proclaimed over your life.
I think that is the deepest form of decolonization when you have a unique name, is reclaiming your name in the way that it's said, because you're literally saying, I get to choose how I'm called.
Yes. The first step of institutionalizing someone or losing your identity is to delete your name.
Absolutely.
In prison, they give you a number. In boot camp, you were maggot or whatever, like it dehumanizes you because you all have a name,
Colonization 101. You want to erase somebody, take their name.
Yep. Then you take their language, then you take their joy. So, woo. On
that note.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience about where to find you or new things that you have coming out?
Sure. So I teach a creative liberation class at the Creative Arts Center. I'm starting to teach it about every 2 months now. I'm teaching it in April now. It's on Fridays. And I teach through the 4 elements. So I have an Afro-Indigenous feminist lens on everything. And so I found that it's a great space for people that are in a space of reclaiming their creativity, wanting to understand how to have a creative life, not just like do a creative craft, but really understand the systems and conditioning that kept them from expressing themselves. I really, really love that class. It's small format, 10 students max. And that is open for enrollment right now. So it's definitely like the easiest, most accessible way for people to access me in the city. I'm also going to be starting to offer walking coaching sessions at the Arboretum. So if for listeners that are wanting to deconstruct some of this stuff that I'm talking about in a private session, I will be offering that as well. And then the last thing for folks that want to connect with me, all of my stuff is branded Dr. CarolLaine M. Garcia. I'm on Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website is also Dr. CarolLaine M. Garcia. And if you go to my website and you love the things that I'm talking about and what I'm sharing, sign up for my newsletter. That is the best way to stay in touch with me. I send twice a month newsletter. One is lunar focus, one is solar focus, and I teach people how to live seasonally and what a liberated life actually looks like, not just in thought. So those are ways of staying connected with me and my work. And thank you so much for this opportunity in this space.
Absolutely. So well done. I really appreciate you putting your heart into this and like taking it so seriously because it's so important.
It was so serious. This is a serious conversation, and I'm so glad that you're doing this and spreading this. I've never seen this before, so I wish you much success. My memoir is coming before September 2026. I don't know yet the day.
We're thinking Q2. Okay.
Yes, but I'm self-publishing it, and it's called Alma Soberana. And it's written around the chakras, and it's about decolonial spirituality. And the ultimate subtitle is Decolonial Spirituality, Embodiment, and Belonging to Yourself.